To assist Little Yuana in opening her energy sea, Lu Zhou decided to personally head to the Cloud Sect to seize the Black Magnolia. Upon hearing this, Hua Wudao, who originally wanted to say something more, was directly asked by Lu Zhou to step back. Ming Shirin clapped his hands in delight. Master, this plan is brilliant. Honestly, it's been ages since I've grabbed anything. If this goes on, my rank in the blacklist will surely fall. Presumptuous, Lu Zhou scolded with a cold snort. Frightened, Ming Shirin immediately knelt to admit his fault. Little Yuana, fluttering her big eyes, approached her master. Master, I don't need the Black Magnolia. I believe I can open the energy sea without it. Hearing this, Lu Zhou turned to look at her. Really? Of course. After all, I have Master to protect me, Little Yuana said with a cheerful smile, clinging to her arm. Lu Zhou smiled slightly. Your talent is extraordinary. It would be a pity if you don't enter the nascent divinity tribulation realm. The Black Magnolia is a treasure of heaven and earth, capable of helping you open the energy sea. Now that you've grown up, your master can't protect you for a lifetime. In his mind, Lu Zhou thought, I can't just say that I'm weak and need this little girl to protect me all the time. Moved to tears, Little Yuana said, Master won't die so soon. Lu Zhou was somewhat speechless. Although these words are well-intentioned, they sound a bit strange. Meanwhile, at the Cloud Sect sword altar, two disciples were discussing proudly. The Cloud Sect has 8 sacred cultivation sites, but the sword altar has the fewest people because it belongs to only one person, our master, Sword Saint Luo Shursan. Our master has been in seclusion for nearly a month. His injuries should have healed. When will he come out? I have many sword techniques to ask him about. Master said someone would come to challenge him, so he needs to maintain his peak condition. Who could make Master so cautious? If the opponent is that powerful, maybe we should move to the main altar. Master once said, you can hide for a moment, but not for a lifetime. While the two disciples were discussing, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky above. One of the disciples, on alert, asked, who's there? Yu Shangrong replied with a calm smile, no need to panic, everyone. I have an appointment with the Sword Saint. Please inform him. Relieved upon hearing this, the disciple said, as long as it's not an enemy, that's fine. So you're a friend of our master. I'll inform him right away. Please wait a moment, senior. Yu Shangrong nodded. Thank you. The disciple hurried towards the hall. As he approached, a forceful energy burst out from the door. The energy, condensed into a sword, flew towards Yu Shangrong, but was blocked by an invisible shield around him, unable to advance further. Luo Shursan then flew down from the sky, stopping about 10 meters away from Yu Shangrong. They looked at each other from a distance. Seeing Luo Shursan's current state, Yu Shangrong showed a satisfied smile. You're quite interesting in your current state. Luo Shursan, with a solemn expression, met his gaze. I thought you wouldn't dare to come. The Cloud Sect sword altar may not have many cultivators, but it's not a place for the likes of rats to run wild. Aren't you afraid I've set a trap? Hearing this, Yu Shangrong smiled slightly. If so, we'll choose another time for our duel. Luo Shursan nodded. I have been roaming the cultivation world for many years and disdained to use such despicable tactics. I've always been different from you, a follower of the demonic path. If we are to fight, let it be a fair battle. Yu Shangrong, with a calm expression, replied, that would be best. Luo Shursan, observing Yu Shangrong's composed demeanor, did not dare to underestimate him. I am Luo Shursan, the chief of the Cloud Sect sword altar. Please enlighten me. Yu Shangrong gave a symbolic nod and introduced himself. Yu Shangrong. Hearing this name, the disciples below broke into a cold sweat. The second disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, known for challenging top swordsmen across the world, a demonic figure in the great flame cultivation world, notorious for his ruthlessness. Unbelievable. Known as the Sword Demon, this polite and gentle-robed swordsman is actually the infamous second disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, Yu Shangrong. This is unexpected. We must quickly inform the main temple and notify the elders to capture the Sword Demon. As soon as a disciple finished speaking, Luo Shursan unleashed a forceful energy towards him, causing the disciple to scream in pain and lose several teeth. I said we would have a fair fight, Luo Shursan declared. With a wave of his hand, a long sword whistled through the air and flew into his grasp. This sword was a peak earth tier weapon. Holding the long sword, Luo Shursan's aura dramatically intensified. Please! Yu Shangrong remained silent, his expression calm as he looked on. Feeling slighted by this apparent indifference, Luo Shursan snorted coldly. The sword in his hand suddenly split into 10 swords, each vibrating and wrapped in forceful energy and the momentum of wind and thunder, slashing towards Yu Shangrong's face. In the blink of an eye, they were upon him, but Yu Shangrong still made no move. Floating in midair with a smile, arms crossed, a powerful vital energy formed a barrier around him, blocking all 10 swords. You're being careless. 10 becomes 20. Luo Shursan shouted, frantically mobilizing his internal vital energy. 20 sword energies, with a momentum like a landslide, ferociously slashed towards Yu Shangrong. The forceful energies clashed loudly, but Yu Shangrong remained unmoved, as stable as a mountain. The sword energies around Luo Shursan grew more numerous, like a tidal wave, dense and overwhelming. In the end, a duel of swordsmanship comes down to the control of sword energies, the ability to transform vital energy into sword energy. The amount of vital energy energy is also a testament to the depth of one's cultivation. Finally, Yu Shangrong, along with his protective barrier, was pushed back several steps by this aggressive assault. Yet, despite this, he still kept his arms crossed and did not take action. The disciples below were dumbfounded. Damn, he's really putting on a show. This is a huge humiliation for our master, for a powerful figure known as the Sword Saint. Look, the master is about to unleash his big move. Luo Shisan brought his hands together, recalling the 20 swords which merged back into one. Vital energy from all directions rapidly converged, forming a massive sword, forceful energy with a momentum akin to splitting heaven and earth, and it slashed towards Yu Shangrong in an instant. With a loud shout, 100 Tribulation Inside Avatar appear, a colossal avatar, overshadowing the sky, materialized. Beneath it, a single golden lotus with 7 petals slowly rotated, further empowering the sword forceful energy with limitless might. The disciples below gasped in awe. This is the Sword Saint's famous sword technique, Sword Heart Hell. Just as its name implies, it's incredibly powerful. Under the enhancement of the 7-leaf avatar, this move possesses the might to split heaven and earth. The Sword Saint, confident with his technique fully charged, smiled. I hope you can satisfy me. However, as the immense sword forceful energy whooshed down in an instant, Yu Shangrong simply dodged with a swift movement, effortlessly avoiding the grandiose attack. Luo Shisan was stunned, and the disciples below wore expressions of disbelief. Sword Heart Hell, his strongest move, missed its mark? Impossible. As the smoke cleared, a huge ravine was visible on the ground, and Yu Shangrong reappeared in the arena, still wearing his calm and composed expression. Luo Shisan looked at him gravely. Do you plan to never make a move? Yu Shangrong smiled slightly. If I did, you wouldn't stand a chance. Hearing this, Luo Shisan became infuriated. Such arrogant words. You misunderstand me. If you truly knew me, you'd realize that I was being modest just now. Upon hearing these words, Luo Shisan's pride was thoroughly wounded. This is intolerable. Without further ado, he charged towards Yu Shangrong, his long sword bolstered by the avatar's power, moving as fast as lightning. His numerous afterimages filled the sky, all converging on Yu Shangrong in a relentless assault. The constant pounding resonated between heaven and earth, and Yu Shangrong's protective shield began to show cracks under this fierce attack. He nodded, seemingly satisfied with the power of this move. The disciples cheered excitedly. He's nodding. Finally, he's nodding. Just as the barrier was about to shatter, Yu Shangrong gestured with his arm, returning. I enter the 3 souls. At his call, the longevity sword vibrated rapidly, unsheathed itself, and flew into his hand. The moment Yu Shangrong grasped the sword, he seemed to transform into a fierce demon god, with the air trembling like a drum skin around him. In one swift motion, he drew the sword and slashed down. Yu Shangrong's figure split into 3, then merged back into 1, reappearing behind Luo Shisan. In the next second, Luo Shisan's sword broke, his mask shattered, and he was left in a daze. Yu Shangrong, since leaving the evil Sky Pavilion, has challenged and defeated top swordsmen from all walks of life without a single loss. Whether it be one of the 3 great sword maniacs, Chen Wenjie, or the righteous 6-leaf or even 7-leaf masters, all have fallen to his sword. No one knows the true depth of his cultivation. Rumors say he is on par with the evil Sky Pavilion's eldest disciple, Yu Zhenhai. Both entered the evil Sky Pavilion in their early years, becoming the proud disciples of Ji Tiandao and receiving his true teachings. Yu Shangrong became famous after a battle in the Great Flame Imperial capital, Shangyuan City. His signature sword technique, returning, I enter the 3 souls, is what made him renowned. The scene seemed to freeze in time. When a true master makes a move, the outcome is known instantly. This wasn't a battle of equals. The revered Sword Saint Luo Shisan, unable to withstand even a single move from the sword demon. What an irony to speak of. In the Great Flame world, those who are recognized as saints are masters in their own right. The title of Sword Saint is the best testament to Luo Shisan's swordsmanship. Even Luo Changqing, one of the 3 great swordsmen and his fellow disciple, might not be able to accept such praise. Yet, the Sword Saint was defeated by the sword demon in one strike. An unfortunate bystander was hit by a broken sword. Luo Shisan remained silent for a long time before slowly speaking. Why didn't you kill me? Everyone knew the principle of the sword demon. Once he decided to kill someone, that person must die, no matter where they fled, even to the ends of the earth. But this time, Yu Shangrong did not follow through. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly and sheathed the longevity sword. Under my sword strike, you should have been a soul lost to my blade, but I can make an exception and spare you once. You have 2 choices. 1. Exchange your life for the Black Magnolia. 2. You have the right to refuse the first option, and I will come to kill you in 3 days. I respect each opponent's choice. Luo Shisan, puzzled, asked. The Black Magnolia is a precious item, able to restore even those whose energy center and energy sea have been destroyed. Does the formidable sword demon need it? Yu Shangrong smiled lightly. You misunderstand. I have a junior sister named Xia Yuan, innocent and naive, and like me, she treats people with humility. The Black Magnolia is sought for her. Upon hearing the mention of a junior sister and Xia Yuan, the crowd below was visibly taken aback. You've left the evil Sky Pavilion, So you're no longer its disciple. Why would you still help her? Yu Shangrong, with a profound look in his eyes, responded, whether I help her or not, what concern is it of yours? Luo Shisan felt somewhat awkward. Right, it's none of my business how you choose to act. Besides, I've been defeated by you. Although I don't know you personally, this battle has shown that you're not a completely ruthless person. Why choose to be a demon feared and targeted by all? You wish to enlighten me? The last one who spoke to me like that was Kong Ming. Don't follow in Kong Ming's footsteps. At the mention of Kong Ming, Luo Shisan broke into a cold sweat. Kong Ming of the Great Void Temple? It's rumored that Kong Ming was killed by Zhao Yu, the 5th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. So, the real mastermind was Sword Demon Yu Shangrong? Yu Shangrong slowly turned around and vanished in the blink of an eye, covering 100 meters in a single step. I always adhere to my principles and never make exceptions. Since I've made an exception, cherish it well. Farewell. With that, he disappeared completely, and the oppressive atmosphere around them dissipated. 2 disciples, carrying the unfortunate one who was hit by the broken sword, hurriedly approached and called out to their master. After a moment of contemplation, Luo Shisan issued an order, notify the elders, I've changed my mind. Ding Fanqiu is a core disciple of the Cloud Sect. The Black Magnolia is merely a material possession. Human life is of utmost importance. I agree to the exchange. The 2 disciples acknowledged the order and hurried off towards the main temple, leaving behind the stretcher. Meanwhile, several hundred meters away from the sword altar, in a cool pavilion, Siwia gently waved his feather fan. To think that second senior brother would break his own rules for our junior sister, it's quite surprising. Hearing this, Yu Shangrong responded with a smile, our junior sister has exceptional talent. It would be a pity if she couldn't break through the energy sea. Rules are made by men, but they can also overcome destiny. Siwia replied, hopefully, our junior sister is as innocent and gifted as both senior brothers believe, worthy of your efforts. Back at the Evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhou was still pondering how to obtain the Black Magnolia. The Cloud Sect has 8 altars, each filled with formidable cultivators. Currently, in the Evil Sky Pavilion, only Hua Wudao has the strongest cultivation. Fan Xiuwen is still recovering from his injuries. Yi Tianxin is rebuilding his energy center in Energy Sea, and isn't even officially a disciple yet. And Zhao Yu has only recovered half of his cultivation and hasn't yet broken through the nascent divinity tribulation realm. So, a forceful approach to the Cloud Sect is not feasible. Steal? Just as this idea popped into Lu Zhou's mind, Hua Wudao's voice came from outside. He entered the hall spiritedly and shared exciting news. Pavilion Lord, the Cloud Sect has sent a flying letter agreeing to exchange the Black Magnolia for Ding Fanqiu. A special envoy is already on their way to the Evil Sky Pavilion. Hearing this, Lu Zhou felt a surge of excitement internally, yet his expression remained calm and unchanged. They changed their mind. Hua Wudao was also puzzled about why the Cloud Sect had changed its stance. Pavilion Lord, since the Cloud Sect is willing to exchange, why not use this opportunity to ease relations? The Evil Sky Pavilion is strong, but having too many enemies is not beneficial. After all, having one more friend is better than one more enemy. Lu Zhou responded indifferently, Elder Hua, it's good that you have this intention. However, the Evil Sky Pavilion does not need such friends. Hearing this, Hua Wudao dared not say more. He felt that his style of doing things didn't quite fit with the Evil Sky Pavilion, perhaps due to his recent initiation, but such things couldn't be rushed. They needed time. At least for now, he could accept the working style of the Evil Sky Pavilion. After a moment of thought, he spoke, Pavilion Lord, even if the Cloud Sect is willing to offer the Black Magnolia in exchange, we only have one piece. It's not enough to open the Energy Sea. Lu Zhou nodded. Do you know how many pieces of Black Magnolia there are? Hua Wudao answered, there are a total of 5 pieces. Besides the one with the Cloud Sect, the second piece is with the Principled Forest School in the southwest of the Great Flame. The third piece is in the northern frontier. The fourth is in the Heaven Chosen Temple, and I'm not sure about the location of the 5th piece. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and continued, in your opinion, from whom should we obtain the second piece? Principled Forest School is far in the southwest, and the northern frontier is beyond the Great Flame's borders, leaving only the Heaven Chosen Temple. The Heaven Chosen Temple has good relations with the Great Void Temple, and both belong to Buddhism, which traditionally does not involve itself in conflicts between good and evil. If approached properly, we can secure it. As Hua Wudao was speaking, Ming Shirin stepped forward. Master, your disciple has a plan. Old Eighth has always had good relations with the Heaven Chosen Temple. He can go there to negotiate. Hearing the word good relations, Lu Zhou appeared somewhat puzzled. Ming Shirin explained, during the years Old Eighth left the Evil Sky Pavilion, he sought means to protect himself and spent a lot of effort with the Heaven Chosen Temple. The precious Zen robe he wears was obtained from there. Lu Zhou nodded in understanding. Let him come over. Ming Shirin hurriedly ran off to the reflection cave and brought back a bewildered Zhu Honghong to the main hall. Zhu Honghong, who had lost considerable weight after returning to the Evil Sky Pavilion over a month ago, immediately knelt nervously upon noticing his master's gaze. Disciple greets master. May master live for thousands of years. Little Yuaner cheerfully presented a roasted pig's head to Zhu Honghong, who quickly devoured it with with evident relish. Lu Zhou, observing him, spoke meaningfully. Old 8, you were misled in the past. I am giving you an opportunity to redeem yourself. Zhu Honghong was overjoyed. Disciple is willing to redeem himself. I will go through fire and water and face any hardship without hesitation. Lu Zhou nodded. Very well. Then it will be up to you to go to the heaven-chosen temple and bring back the Black Magnolia. Upon hearing the task at hand, Zhu Honghong was momentarily dumbfounded. The heaven-chosen temple? Do you have a problem with that? Asked Lu Zhou. No, disciple is willing. I will definitely bring back the Black Magnolia, Zhu Honghong hastily assured. Ming Shirin kicked him lightly, urging him on. Then get going. With your relationship with them, it shouldn't be a problem. Trust me, I won't harm you. Go, and remember to negotiate. Keep us informed with flying letters. I'll leave right away, Zhu Honghong said, not daring to refuse, and quickly made his way out of the hall. After watching his figure disappear, Lu Zhou asked about the Cloud Sex envoy. When will the special envoy arrive? Hua Wudao bowed slightly. In about 3 hours. After receiving his orders, Zhu Honghong headed down the mountain. Despite his reluctance to visit the heaven-chosen temple, he couldn't defy his master's command and saw it as an excellent opportunity to redeem himself. However, he wondered how he would negotiate with the heaven-chosen temple. As he pondered, Pan Zhong approached him with a flattering smile. Mr. 8th, it's me. Zhu Honghong was slightly annoyed to see him. Don't bother me. I haven't settled the score with you for last time. Pan Zhong approached with an awkward smile. Please, Mr. 8th, a noble person doesn't dwell on the mistakes of others. I always knew you were different from the rest. Zhu Honghong snorted. Enough with the flattery. I don't fall for that. Pan Zhong protested his innocence. Mr. 8th, if speaking honestly is considered flattery, should I lie to you from now on? That's more like it. What do you want? Zhu Honghong asked. Mr. 4th said he would speak well of you to the Pavilion Lord. Just go to the heaven-chosen temple. Mr. 4th will cover for you back here at the Evil Sky Pavilion. That's to be expected. Zhu Honghong sighed, picking up his cloak that was airing out. Don't block my way. Don't think I'll let you off just because you said something nice. When I was cultivating at the Evil Sky Pavilion, there was no place for you. After speaking, Zhu Honghong leaped gracefully, soaring towards the foot of the mountain. However, soon after, a scream like that of a pig being slaughtered reached Pan Zhong's ears. Realizing his mistake, Pan Zhong slapped his forehead. Oh no, I forgot the most important thing. I haven't unsealed Mr. 8's cultivation yet. 3 hours after Zhu Honghong left for the heaven-chosen temple, a female cultivator from the derived Moon Palace arrived at the Evil Sky Pavilion. Pavilion Lord, the Cloud Sex envoy, Li Yundao, requests an audience. Lu Zhou motioned for her to bring him into the main hall. Li Yundao sat nervously in the chair, his face betraying tension and unease. He sneaked a glance at Lu Zhou and noticed a discrepancy with the rumors. They say Qi Tiandao won't live more than 10 years, but he looks energetic and even has some black hair. He doesn't seem like someone whose end is near. Contemplating this, he glanced disappointingly at Hua Wudao. I didn't expect a Cloud Sect elder to really join the demon path. It's tragic. Old Qi, on behalf of the Cloud Sect Master, I am here to present this piece of Black Magnolia, Li Yundao said respectfully, presenting a brocade box containing a black leaf. Lu Zhou nodded in satisfaction. I always appreciate those who keep their word. Bring Ding Fanqiu here. Soon, footsteps approached, and Ding Fanqiu, looking disheveled and somewhat weak, was brought in by Zhou Jifeng. Li Yundao, seeing him, hurriedly bowed and thanked Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou waved his hand dismissively. You may leave. Li Yundao was somewhat speechless. I've come from afar, and before my seat even gets warm, you're sending me away? Elder Ji, I have more to say. Li Yundao bowed in response. Previously, Senior Sword Demon went to the Sword Altar and defeated Senior Luo, the chief of Sword Altar. Senior Luo asked me to convey a message. If there's a chance, he would like Senior Sword Demon to bestow guidance through a friendly match. Hearing Li Yundao's message, Lu Zhou was a bit surprised. Yu Shanrong went to the Sword Altar. No wonder the Cloud Sect changed its mind. Yu Shanrong must have exerted some pressure behind the scenes. Li Yundao, with a spirited expression, continued, Sword Demon Senior's skills are profound. His technique returning, I enter the three souls deeply impressed the Sword Saint. Before he could finish, Ming Shirin interrupted him with a cold snort. Get out, praising a traitor in front of our master. Are you out of your mind? Enough with the nonsense. Take Ding Fanqiu and leave. Startled, Li Yundao quickly left the hall with Ding Fanqiu, muttering to himself, demons really can't be offended. After they left, Lu Zhou turned his attention to the Black Magnolia, intrigued by its medicinal properties. Little Yuaner, also curious, approached. Master, can this Black Magnolia really open the energy sea? Ming Shirin chuckled. Black Magnolia is a treasure of heaven and earth. It's not just about opening the energy sea. As long as one is not dead, consuming it can bring them back from the brink. Little Yuaner, overjoyed, knelt down to thank her master, her loyalty increasing further. At that moment, Pan Zhong hurriedly entered. Pavilion Lord, a flying letter from the Heaven-Chosen Temple. Upon reading the flying letter, Lu Zhou's eyebrows raised in anger, and he let out a cold snort. Audacious. Ming Shirin quickly took the letter and skimmed through it. The Heaven-Chosen Temple is really asking for the moon. They want 3 heavenly grade weapons, and the return of Old 8's precious Zen robe. Hua Wudao, puzzled, commented, I I thought Zhu Honghong had good relations with the Heaven Chosen Temple. Ming Shirin scratched his head, equally baffled. Perhaps that pig has hidden something from us. Master, Old Eighth is now imprisoned. The Heaven Chosen Temple is blatantly disregarding the evil Sky Pavilion. The Heaven Chosen Temple is not comparable to the Great Void Temple. In recent decades, they have scarcely produced any significant Buddhist masters. Their nascent divinity tribulation realm experts are few, and their younger generation is lackluster compared to the Great Void Temple. As one of the 4 great Buddhist temples, the Heaven Chosen Temple has long lost its past glory and has gradually become a subsidiary of the Great Void Temple. Unable to comprehend the Heaven Chosen Temple's boldness, Ming Shirin angrily volunteered, Master, allow me and third senior brother to go to the Heaven Chosen Temple and wipe out those monks, to show them the evil Sky Pavilion is not to be trifled with. Duan Mushing also quickly expressed his willingness to act. Old Eighth was carrying out orders on behalf of the evil Sky Pavilion. As his senior brother, how can I stand by idly? I wish to join fourth junior brother in punishing those monks. Xiao Yu stepped forward. I am aware of my mistakes and wish to redeem myself by joining my brothers in this battle to eliminate the Heaven Chosen Temple and alleviate Master's anger. Hua Wudao looked on, somewhat speechless. Only now do I feel the true nature of the evil Sky Pavilion. Though I see no distinction between right and wrong, I am not one to slaughter indiscriminately. Isn't this approach a bit too violent? Lu Zhou pondered for a moment before speaking slowly. The Heaven Chosen Temple and the Great Void Temple are of the same lineage. Kong Yuan of the Great Void Temple has been in seclusion for many years and is rumored to have made a breakthrough. If they join forces, you all may not return alive. Hearing this, Ming Shirin and Duan Mushing exchanged a determined look. Master, we are not afraid of death. Xiao Yu and Little Yuan also voiced their agreement. Disciples second this. Seeing their determination, Lu Zhou nodded. Since that's the case, I will go to the Heaven Chosen Temple myself. Little Yuan, puzzled, asked, Master, are you going too? Ming Shirin seized the opportunity to flatter. With Master leading us, what are those bald monks? They'll be taken care of with a single slap. Lu Zhou didn't respond to him. The system then activated the quest to acquire the Black Magnolia with a reward of 1,500 merit points. If we can successfully retrieve the Black Magnolia, the Avatar 7-star soul transferring will be within reach. In just a few months since my arrival, progressing from Tai Chi to 7-star soul transferring, even Ji Tiandao might not have achieved such a feat. Thus, Lu Zhou was determined to obtain the Black Magnolia. By the next morning, Ming Shirin had prepared the cloud-piercing flying chariot. Elder Hua, you should stay and rest in the evil Sky Pavilion due to your age, Lu Zhou advised Hua Wudao before boarding the flying chariot. Hua Wudao was momentarily stunned. Indeed, I am old, but Pavilion Lord, you seem older. I await your triumphant return. After all the disciples boarded the flying chariot, Ming Shirin patted Duan Mushing, starting to persuade him, third senior brother, do you know the many benefits of steering the chariot? Duan Mushing looked at him skeptically. Steering the chariot can refine the coordination of your vital energy. When you control the flying chariot, you manage its speed and turbulence, which over time can also strengthen your resilience. Besides, the pilot's seat offers the best view. Duan Mushing, still somewhat skeptical, asked, is it really that good? Of course, Ming Shirin replied confidently. Why do you think our eldest senior brother is so strong? 10 years of steering isn't for nothing. Duan Mushing seemed to ponder this. That makes sense. Since you're less advanced in your cultivation, this good opportunity should be yours. Ming Shirin was taken aback by Duan Mushing's earnest words. Half an hour later, the flying chariot, like a shooting star, arrived at Clear Source Mountain, where the Heaven Chosen Temple was located at the summit. Lu Zhou signaled Ming Shirin to slow down. Understood, Ming Shirin replied, then turned to the others with pride. Third senior brother, little junior sister, how was my piloting? Little Yuaner gave a thumbs up in approval. Fourth senior brother, your steering skills are top-notch. Amazing. Duan Mushing also praised him. Junior brother, your aptitude is remarkable. You've become so adept after just a couple of times. Hearing their conversation, Lu Zhou smiled slightly. In that case, from now on, you will be the regular pilot. Ming Shirin was dumbfounded by this assignment. Meanwhile, at the Heaven Chosen Temple, the disciples noticed the approaching flying chariot. Master, the flying chariot from the evil Sky Pavilion is really here. Upon hearing this, the abbot, Master Su Jing of the Heaven Chosen Temple, sighed deeply, interrupting his scripture reading. With a furrowed brow and a worried expression, he gave the order, inform all the disciples, prepare to receive our guests. Following his command, the clear sound of a bell echoed throughout Clear Source Mountain as the disciples of the Heaven Chosen Temple quickly assembled in the square. Master, the evil Sky Pavilion comes with formidable momentum. What should we do next? Hearing his disciples' concern, Abbot Su Jing of Heaven Chosen Temple remained composed but cautious. The visitors are led by the foremost demon of the world. Except for Su Sheng, Su Fan, and Su Hai, no one else should speak recklessly. He then looked towards the cloud-piercing flying chariot in the sky and, using his vital energy to amplify his voice, greeted them. Abbot Su Jing of the Heaven Chosen Temple welcomes the esteemed guests. From the flying chariot, Ming Shirin looked down at the temple and grumbled, "Master, these bald monks are too hypocritical, daring to mock the evil sky pavilion like this." Su Jing remained unflustered and replied calmly, "This humble monk has no choice but to resort to such measures. Master, I suspect a trap. Should we land somewhere else? With our strength and cultivation, we could escape from a trap, but it would be a pity if this precious cloud-piercing flying chariot were damaged." Lu Zhou nodded. "Let's land." He then looked proudly at Su Jing. "It's been a long time." Su Jing, surprised, said, "This humble monk never thought the lord of the evil sky pavilion would grace our humble temple. Your visit brings us great honor." Ming Shireen controlled the flying chariot to gently land on the altar of heaven, a place traditionally used by the heaven-chosen temple for heavenly sacrifices. Landing here was a deliberate act by Ming Shireen to suppress the heaven-chosen temple. The younger disciples of the heaven-chosen temple, full of youthful vigor, were angered and wanted to argue, but they were restrained by the senior monks. "Step back. Our young disciples lack experience. They know little about this demon, the most feared in the cultivation world. It's foolish to confront him head-on. These people are merciless killers." Lu Zhou, accompanied by his disciples, stepped off the flying chariot. Abbot Su Jing approached them and greeted with a gesture of respect. "Amitabha, this humble monk welcomes you all." The attitude of Abbot Su Jing left many monks puzzled. Su Jing spoke again. This humble monk had no choice but to detain the esteemed guests. It was a reluctant necessity. "Please, let us talk more in the Mahavira Hall, where I can explain everything in detail." Lu Zhou remained silent, observing the situation. Ming Shireen, leaning forward, burst out in anger. "Bald monk, you've detained our 8th junior brother. Release him immediately. And how dare you demand 3 heavenly tier items? Who gave you such audacity?" Su Jing, slightly embarrassed, replied, "If I hadn't said so, how could I have provoked the evil sky pavilion?" "So, you did this intentionally?" Ming Shireen pressed on. Su Jing waved his hand, signaling his disciples to clear a path. "Please, esteemed guests, follow me." He then led them towards the main hall. Ming Shireen continued to probe. "So, you deliberately lured my master here for another matter?" "Indeed," Su Jing confirmed. Lu Zhou nodded. "I hope so." He wasn't worried about ambushes or confinement arrays, knowing the strength of the evil sky pavilion was well known. Even the heaven-chosen temple wouldn't be foolish enough to directly confront them. The group then entered the Mahavira Hall. Zhu Honghong, looking aggrieved, was also brought in by 2 monks. Su Jing, with a furrowed brow, said, "This humble monk resorted to such tactics out of necessity. I hope Lord Ji can forgive us. I am willing to take full responsibility for all transgressions." As Zhu Honghong was freed from his restraints, he knelt before Lu Zhou, tearfully recounting his ordeal. "Master, I'm so glad you're here. This bald monk has tortured and beaten me. I'm seriously injured and have suffered greatly. Master, you must seek justice for me." Ming Shireen glanced at Zhu Honghong skeptically. "He doesn't look injured at all. This guy is really putting on a show." Su Jing, taken aback by Zhu Honghong's accusations, quickly defended himself. "As the abbot of the heaven-chosen temple, I would never dare to harm a guest. This is a place of Buddhist teachings." However, Zhu Honghong, knowing his master well, continued his tearful performance, pointing at Su Jing and accusing him of brutality. Lu Zhou, observing the situation, nodded. "Stand up and speak. If what you say is true, I will certainly seek justice for you." Hearing this, Zhu Honghong quickly stood behind his master, looking smug. Lu Zhou then changed the topic. "Let's get to the main issue. If you can't explain satisfactorily, the heaven-chosen temple will pay the price." Su Jing, sweating profusely, steadied himself and spoke. "I understand that Lord Ji seeks the Black Magnolia. The Black Magnolia will be handed over to the evil sky pavilion." At this revelation, Lu Zhou's interest peaked. "Quite generous. But why all this roundabout drama? Detaining Zhu Honghong for 1 night in exchange for a Black Magnolia seems like a good deal." He continued, "I am always reasonable. The detention of Zhu Honghong can be overlooked." Zhu Honghong, confused, "Didn't Master just say you would seek justice for me?" Su Jing sighed in relief. "Your understanding is a fortunate thing. Besides, I have another request." He then signaled his disciples to bring in a body. Ming Shireen scoffed. "I knew you were up to no good, Baldy. Your request is meaningless. The evil sky pavilion does not agree." Su Jing's eyes conveyed a sense of dejection. "This matter indeed reflects a lack of foresight on my part. Apart from the Black Magnolia, the heaven-chosen temple will not pursue the matter of the precious Zen robe." Zhu Honghong, feeling uneasy, quickly clutched his robe. Lu Zhou's interest was piqued. "I am curious. What matter would make the heaven-chosen temple act so subserviently?" Su Jing sighed deeply, glancing at the bodies that had been brought in. "In matters of life and death, we had no choice. The head of our discipline hall, Kong Liao, the head of our scripture hall, Kong Jian, and other high-ranking officials, including 8 stewards and 12 hall masters, have all been killed by the 4 divine monks of the Great Void Temple." Lu Zhou, puzzled, asked, "The Great Void Temple and the Heaven-Chosen Temple belong to the same lineage. Why would the Great Void Temple kill its own people?" Su Jing shook his head. "The story complicated. Since the master of the Great Void Temple, Kong Xian, left seclusion, the temple changed its stance of non-interference in worldly affairs. Claiming to enlighten and save all beings, they became more active. The Heaven-Chosen Temple and the Great Void Temple used to coexist peacefully. However, after Kong Xian's sudden death, the Great Void Temple accused me of the murder. Unable to defend myself, and with many righteous sects as witnesses at the altar, the Great Void Temple took this as an opportunity to attack us. The Heaven-chosen Temple is no longer as powerful as it once was. How could we withstand the 4 divine monks? Lu Zhou hadn't expected that his killing of Kong Xian would ignite such a conflict between the Great Void Temple and the Heaven-chosen Temple. So, you turned to the evil Sky Pavilion? Su Jing nodded. Yes, I heard that the relationship between the Great Void Temple and the evil Sky Pavilion is not good. Now, with no other option and over 1,000 lives at stake in our temple, I had to resort to this strategy. If the evil Sky Pavilion can eliminate the 4 divine monks, not only will I offer the Black Magnolia and the precious Zen robe, but the Heaven-chosen Temple will also submit to the evil Sky Pavilion. Su Jing's situation elicited a contemplative look from Lu Zhou. In the Great Flame World, the righteous and demonic paths stand opposed. If the Heaven-chosen Temple bows to the evil Sky Pavilion, you will have to face the condemnation of the righteous sects. You are the abbot of the Heaven-chosen Temple, traditionally aligned with the righteous path. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world for choosing to bow to the demonic path? Lu Zhou questioned. Su Jing recalled the scenes of condemnation from the Clarity sect and Orthodox sect, the ruthless killing of Heaven-chosen Temple disciples by the 4 divine monks of the Great Void Temple, and the banners in Jingzhou City calling for the demise of the Heaven-chosen Temple. Compared to these, the evil Sky Pavilion had never wronged them. He answered with a resigned snort. A single thought can lead to enlightenment or to demonic ways. Lu Zhou smiled faintly and probed further. Zhu Honghong took the precious Zen robe from the Heaven-chosen Temple. Do you not hold a grudge? If the precious Zen robe had remained in the Heaven-chosen Temple, it would likely have been taken by the Great Void Temple by now. Having it in your hands is indeed fortunate. Zhu Honghong, relieved, commented. I was wondering why they didn't strip my robe. So that's why. Curious, Lu Zhou asked. Why not seek help from other righteous sects, not just the Clarity and Orthodox sects? Su Jing shook his head. There are many righteous sects, but few can contend with the Great Void Temple. Besides, who would risk provoking the Great Void Temple for the sake of the Heaven-chosen Temple? Yet, how can you be so sure that the evil Sky Pavilion would intervene? Su Jing enumerated 3 reasons. The Black Magnolia, my knowledge of Kong Xian's death at the hands of the evil Sky Pavilion, and the precious Zen robe. Lu Zhou stroked his beard thoughtfully. Well said, but what if the evil Sky Pavilion chose to side with the Great Void Temple? What then? The Mahavira Hall fell into a deep silence at Lu Zhou's question. After a long pause, Su Jing pulled out a rope, sighed deeply, tied one end to the beam, and placed the other around his neck. If it comes to that, I would be the greatest sinner of the Heaven-chosen Temple and should be the first to confess before Buddha. Lu Zhou, noticing Su Jing's actions, smiled slightly. Relax. I appreciate someone who knows their place. Where is the Great Void Temple? Su Jing, relieved at Lu Zhou's response, replied eagerly. The Great Void Temple gave us 3 days. Today is the last day. Tomorrow morning, the 4 divine monks of the Great Void Temple will arrive at the Heaven-chosen Temple. Lu Zhou nodded and instructed Ming Shirin, hide the flying chariot. Understood, Master. Ming Shirin immediately set to work. Lu Zhou and his disciples settled in at the Heaven-chosen Temple for the night. Late at night, Su Jing stood alone before a statue of Buddha, sighing. One thought leads to enlightenment, another to demonic paths. The next morning, the disciples of the Heaven-chosen Temple were on high alert. Report immediately when the Great Void Temple's flying chariot appears. Lu Zhou and his disciples also emerged early into the courtyard. Soon, a luxurious golden flying chariot approached steadily. Ming Shirin chuckled upon seeing it. The Great Void Temple seems much wealthier than the Heaven-chosen Temple. Impressive, though a bit small. As the flying chariot neared, a resonant voice called out, Su Jing, come out and greet us. The disciples of the Heaven-chosen Temple gasped upon recognizing the figures. All 4 divine monks have come. Lu Zhou glanced over, asking, are these 4 divine monks very powerful? Su Jing nodded. Kong Ju, Kong Wen, Kong Ji, and Kong Zhang are all heads of their respective halls, second only to Abbot Kong Yuan. Their cultivation has likely reached the nascent divinity tribulation realm. It's truly generous of them to send 4 nascent divinity tribulation realm experts at once. In the entire Heaven-chosen Temple, only Abbot Su Jing had reached the nascent divinity tribulation realm. The rest of the monks, including those in the divine court realm, were few, and none of the 1,000 disciples had achieved such a high level of cultivation. The Great Void Temple, on the other hand, easily fielding 4 nascent divinity tribulation realm monks, illustrated a stark contrast in power between the 2 temples. This desperate situation explains why the Heaven-chosen Temple resorted to such drastic measures, preferring to shatter like jade rather than remain intact as pottery. Ming Shirin, hearing about the monks' cultivation levels, seemed unimpressed. Nascent divinity tribulation realm monks vary in strength. Are they all 8-leaf masters? Su Jing shook his head in response. The individual strength of the 4 divine monks isn't very high. The strongest is only at 5 leaves, and the weakest at 2 leaves, with Kong Ji at 3 leaves and Kong Zhang at 4 4 leaves. Ming Shireen, eager to show off, boasted, "That doesn't sound too impressive. I could take on 2 of them." Su Jing, curious, asked, "What is your cultivation level?" With pride, Ming Shireen replied, 2 leaves. As Su Jing began to undress to show his injuries, he explained, "The 4 divine monks are not particularly strong in single combat, but together they are comparable to a 7-leaf master. They excel in combining their strength, using powerful Buddhist handprints in unison. They fight as one. I've clashed with them and got injured." Revealing a black palm imprint on his chest and another on his back, Su Jing continued, "There's more." Seeing Su Jing about to undress further, Xiao Yu quickly covered Little Yuaner's eyes, and Ming Shireen stepped forward to stop him. "That's enough. I get it. You're tough. I usually don't like monks, but you seem alright." Su Jing, looking expectantly at Lu Zhou, asked, "May I know if Lord Ji is confident in dealing with this situation?" Despite hearing about Ji Tiandao's reputation as the foremost demon of the era, he was aware that Lu Zhou's millennial lifespan was nearing its end, and with age, his powers might have waned. He was uncertain whether the old demon in front of him still retained his formidable abilities. Before Lu Zhou could respond, Ming Shireen interjected confidently, "My master's cultivation is unfathomable. You can rest assured. Perhaps my 3rd senior brother and I can resolve this without even needing my master's intervention." Just as he finished speaking, 4 monks draped in Buddhist robes slowly floated down from the sky. A thunderous voice reached everyone's ears. "Su Jing, the 3 days have passed. Have you made your decision?" Su Jing's brows furrowed as he turned to his fellow monks, Su Liao, Su Fan, Su Hai. The 3 monks bowed in unison. "Abbot brother, the safety of the heaven-chosen temple disciples is now in your hands." The abbot reassured them, "Even though I, Su Jing, may die today, knowing you 3 are here to protect our disciples brings me peace." Hearing their conversation, Kongwon, one of the monks in the sky, sneered dismissively, "Su Jing, hand over the black magnolia and the precious Zen robe. Why not join the Great Void Temple and end this foolish resistance?" Su Jing, defiant, retorted angrily, "Heresy." Kongwon, infuriated, his eyes widening, retorted, "How dare you insult a Buddhist monk?" Su Jing shot back, "After all, the Kong generation ranks lower than the Su generation. Insulting your elders, you are worse than heretics." Kongwon sneered after hearing this. "I thought you would come to your senses in these 3 days and comply willingly. But it turns out, even after 3 days, not only have you not thought it through, you remain so stubbornly unyielding." Beside him, Kong Ju clenched his fists, seemingly eager to act. Sending them off is merely a bit more effort. Just as Su Jing was about to retort, Lu Zhou suddenly appeared before him, casually taking away his treasured white rabbit creamy candy. Looking up at the 4 people in the sky, Lu Zhou revealed a meaningful smile. "Do you also want the black magnolia?" Su Jing hastily responded, "They want the black magnolia to use against the evil Sky Pavilion. They've known all along that Kong Xian's death was the work of the evil Sky Pavilion. They're just using it as an excuse to target the heaven-chosen temple." Kongwon, noticing Lu Zhou and his disciples, chuckled dismissively. "So, Su Jing, you've brought help." Su Jing retorted with a snort, "Indeed, I've sought help. Today, you 4 will not return from here." Kongwon stepped forward, his vital energy surging around him. "Let's see what kind of help you've brought." He had already sensed the group: an old man, a bunch of weak women, 2 seeming fools, a fat simpleton, and a little girl, truly laughable. Su Jing, unable to suppress his coughing due to his injuries, retreated to Lu Zhou's side. "Lord Ji, I'm counting on you." Lu Zhou smiled slightly. "I shall grant your wishes." Hearing his master's command, Ming Shireen immediately charged forward, eager to engage. "I'll take the lead and teach them a lesson." The 4 divine monks, sensing Ming Shireen's formidable aura, took him seriously. They stood side by side, performing identical movements, and then simultaneously unleashed a palm strike. A torrent of forceful energy surged towards Ming Shireen, who managed to use the momentum to flip back to the ground. Surprised by their synchronized technique, the monks' ability to combine their forceful energies and handprints with such harmony was unexpected and impressive. Kongwon calmly remarked, well done. Your cultivation is not low. Why do you choose to assist the wicked?" Ming Shireen leaped forward to attack again, replying, "I hate monks like you who preach high morals. Mercy upon you. Why persist in delusion? The deluded one is you." Ming Shireen retorted coldly, swinging his heavenly tear separation hook. The monks quickly dodged, and then swiftly surrounded him. They simultaneously opened their mouths and let out a thunderous shout, the strange, humming sound causing Ming Shireen a painful headache as he stumbled backward. The divine monks did not pursue further but calmly returned to their original positions. "Please reconsider. You are no match for us." Ming Shireen's head was still buzzing. He hadn't expected that even with the heavenly tear separation hook, he would still be no match for the 4 divine monks. While their individual strength and power were not overwhelming, their tactics were peculiar and seemed full of openings that were, in reality, traps. Kongwon then turned his attention to Su Jing and Lu Zhou. "Su Jing, I thought you had blocked that strike, but you still suffered a serious injury. It's impressive that you've held on until now. An old man, what has he offered you to garner such support from you?" Lu Zhou, holding up 2 fingers, calmly stated, "Abbot Su Jing has offered me the black magnolia and the precious Zen rope with such sincerity. How could I not lend my assistance? Kong Wen's eyes widened in shock at this revelation. Su Jing, have you gone mad? To give away such precious items to an outsider instead of your own Buddhist monk? Su Jing, looking weak, retorted, heresy. Old man, it's often said that an innocent man can be guilty by possession of a treasure. The Great Void Temple also desires the black magnolia. Why not be generous and hand it over? Lu Zhou inquired. Why does your Great Void Temple want the black magnolia? Kong Wen answered proudly. Are you aware of the Evil Sky Pavilion? We've received information that they are searching for the black magnolia. The Evil Sky Pavilion is demonic, and every righteous path should seek its destruction. The Great Void Temple will not allow them to succeed in their quest. Hearing this, Lu Zhou's expression turned cold. The Great Void Temple has always remained detached from worldly affairs. Why choose to become an enemy of the Evil Sky Pavilion now? Kong Wen spoke righteously. Our Buddha teaches compassion. The Evil Sky Pavilion has committed many evils and deserves to be punished. Lu Zhou responded calmly. Unfortunately, I too am quite interested in this black magnolia. As Kong Wen commanded, 20 disciples of the Great Void Temple began chanting in unison, their palms together in front of them. The resonating, ear-piercing sound of their chanting, Brahma sound enters the dream, filled the air. The disciples of the heaven-chosen temple, with their relatively lower cultivation levels and many not even having reached the sense-condensing realm, struggled to withstand this powerful sonic assault, reminiscent of the scenario at the Runan altar. However, Lu Zhou, unbothered by the chanting due to the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing, remained unaffected. Xiao Yu and Zhu Honghong used their forceful energy to protect themselves, while little Yuaner seemed naturally immune. Duan Musheng, irritated by the incessant chanting, charged forward with his overlord spear, shouting as he rushed towards the divine monks. Such a noisy bald donkey! The 4 divine monks simultaneously released their forceful energy to block the overlord's spear, but to their surprise, the spear penetrated through their quadrilateral forceful energy barrier. Kong Wen was stunned. How is this possible? It broke through. Lu Zhou understood the situation. This is the result of Duan Musheng's countless sparring sessions with Hua Wudao. This move might fall short against the 6 Union Seal technique, but breaking through the forceful energy wall of the 4 divine monks is within its capabilities. Ming Shirin also joined the fray, targeting Kong Ji and Kong Zhang with his separation hook. I'll take on these two, he declared, darting forward like an arrow released from a bow. Duan Musheng, seizing the opportunity, focused on separating the monks. He wielded the overlord's spear, directing his attacks towards Kong Wen and Kong Ju. Ming Shirin, with his separation hook, engaged in a fierce battle with Kong Ji and Kong Zhang. Lu Zhou, observing the scene, nodded in satisfaction. It's impressive that my 2 disciples have managed this much, each taking on 2 opponents. The 4 divine monks, unlike the 4 black knights, do not fight individually. Their strength lies in their coordination, which my disciples have effectively disrupted. Duan Musheng's aggressive nature shines in combat, while Ming Shirin uses his cunning and agility to find openings for attack. The 4 divine monks were astounded by the combat prowess displayed by Ming Shirin and Duan Musheng. These are not ordinary nascent divinity tribulation realm practitioners, and they wield heavenly tier weapons. Let's attack together. Let's unite. Determination seal, they declared in unison. With that, the monks converged seamlessly, their vital energy resonating and merging to form a golden shield. Duan Musheng, seeing this, roared, just what I was waiting for. He swung his overlord spear against the shield, striking it repeatedly and continuously, causing the entire shield to tremble. The determination seal, known for its immovable defense, was designed to withstand powerful attacks. But Duan Musheng cared little for such defenses. His spear strikes became faster and more powerful, like waves building upon each other. At the peak of his momentum, countless spear images fused into one, thrusting forward with an unstoppable force. In the next moment, Kong Ju spat blood, spraying it skywards as the determination seal shattered and dissipated into nothingness. Kong Wen, shocked, quickly retreated with Kong Ju and the other 2 monks, moving back to where dozens of Great Void Temple monks stood. The determination seal, a powerful defensive technique from the Zen tradition, had failed against the might of the overlord spear, honed by countless sparring sessions with Hua Wudao. Su Jing, weakened, shouted a warning, be careful. Lu Zhou looked up just in time to see Kong Wen and his group retreat to the vicinity of the numerous monks from the Great Void Temple. Kong Wen's brows furrowed as he commanded, make your move. As Kong Ju wiped the blood from his mouth, he and the other 3 monks immediately began sitting in a lotus position and chanting. With a thunderous roar, an elliptical wave of sword forceful energy swept around them, and the mystical sound of their chanting pierced directly into everyone's minds. Lu Zhou, upon hearing this, was momentarily stunned. Great Expansion Spell. They can actually use the Great Expansion Spell, a technique designed for massive destruction. There are many kinds of Buddhist sonic techniques, like the Great Calming Heart Spell and the Brahma Sound Enters the Dream, which are long-range, sustained suppression techniques. But the Great Expansion Spell is different. It's like an amplified version of the Brahma Sound, striking directly at the senses and capable of killing. Realizing the severity of the situation, situation. As disciples of the heaven-chosen temple began to fall one by one, Lu Zhou quickly took action. He pulled out several thunder forceful energy cards and crushed them. In the next instant, 5 bolts of lightning descended from the sky, striking directly at the Great Void Temple monks. The chanting was interrupted, and everyone was stunned by the unexpected turn of events. How can there be thunder in broad daylight, and all 5 strikes hit our people? Is this divine retribution for our sins? Lu Zhou shook his head. His luck wasn't great as he didn't trigger the 1% chance of a critical strike. However, thankfully, the price of the thunder forceful energy cards hadn't increased. Kongwen was the first to regain his composure. Looking at Lu Zhou with a grave expression, he realized that the old man was not as weak as his aura suggested. To capture the bandit, first capture the king. For great emptiness, determination seal. As Kongwen and the other monks activated their technique, their aura intensified dramatically. Their pupils turned black, emitting faint blue glimmers. Gradually, these energies merged to form a 6-petaled Arhat avatar, its lotus pedestal slowly spinning and blossoming beneath it. Lu Zhou watched this spectacle calmly, unhurried in his response. He had already prepared a strategy, even considering the use of 4 critical strike cards if necessary. He could have chosen to eliminate 1 monk first, weakening the combined force of the remaining 3. However, seeing the 4 avatars merge into one was an unexpected turn of events that might simplify matters. As Lu Zhou was contemplating his next move, Su Jing shouted a warning. Be careful. The fully formed 6-petaled avatar suddenly raised its palm, executing the fearless seal. The massive palm imprint advanced relentlessly, targeting Lu Zhou. Simultaneously, from within the avatar, Kong Ju shouted to Su Liao and the others, "What are you waiting for?" Reacting to Kong Ju's command, Su Liao, Su Fan, and Su Hai sprang into action, swiftly drawing green daggers and aiming for Lu Zhou's back. Realizing their betrayal, Lu Zhou coldly crushed an invincible talisman card in his hand. A powerful sword forceful energy barrier instantly surrounded him, protecting him from the traitor's attack. The 3 attackers collided with the barrier, resulting in a loud crash. 2 of them spat blood and flew back, while 1 was killed instantly. A notification rang out, awarding Lu Zhou 100 merit points for retrieving an Azure Fall fragment. Without time to examine the fragment, Lu Zhou's icy gaze swept over the surroundings. A towering, dazzling golden Buddha figure, 10 feet tall, appeared, dwarfing the combined Arhat form of the 4 monks, which seemed like an infant compared to an adult. With only 10 seconds of invincibility, Lu Zhou had to act fast. He extended his palm and struck back at the incoming fearless seal. "You dare challenge me?" Great Void Temple. A vortex formed in the palm of his hand, and a palm imprint, several times larger than the fearless seal, flew forward. The 4 monks, seeing this gigantic counterattack, were stunned. An oversized version, the Great Fearless Seal. As the Great Fearless Seal, amplified to an extraordinary size by Lu Zhou, shattered the monks' combined seal and continued its relentless advance, the monks Kongwen, Kongju, Kongji, and Kongzhang were all thrown backward, spewing blood. Kongwen, who bore the brunt of the attack, suffered the most, bleeding from all orifices and ultimately vanishing in an explosion. The other 3 monks were hurled in different directions, crashing to the ground. Lu Zhou received a notification of earning 1,000 merit points for defeating a nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm target. Despite the victory, Lu Zhou shook his head, not entirely satisfied. The Fatal Blow's effectiveness is not without reason. It seems designed to focus on a single target, shattering any energy in its path. It doesn't trigger the killing effect on those who are not the primary target. The spectators below were stunned by the brief and decisive battle. Just 2 moves. First, the defense with the Buddha's golden body, and then the offensive with the Great Fearless Seal. The entire confrontation was resolved in 2 moves. Little Yuaner, unsurprised by the outcome, felt it was to be expected. Xu Honghong, on the other hand, stood in shock, unable to believe what he had just witnessed. Master is supposed to be old, but he's even more formidable than the young ones. Lu Zhou then called out to Duan Mushing and Ming Shirin, who quickly responded, "We're here. The remaining 3 are yours." Lu Zhou instructed. "Understood," they replied in unison before leaping towards the surviving divine monks with their weapons drawn. "Wait," one of the monks pleaded. "There's no waiting," Duan Mushing retorted. "Spare us, hero," another monk begged. "You call me a hero? Your entire family are heroes," Ming Shirin mocked. Lu Zhou didn't continue to focus on their battle. With Kongwen gone, Duan Mushing and Ming Shirin could handle the fight. He then called out to Little Yuaner and Zhao Yu, who promptly responded, "We're here. Clean up the rest," Lu Zhou commanded. "Understood," they acknowledged. With that, they rushed towards the remaining 20 monks from the Great Void Temple, ready to finish the battle. Xu Honghong, eager to demonstrate his loyalty, quickly spoke up, "Master, don't forget me, old 8th. I will show my might and solve problems for Master." Little Yuaner stretched her body, giggling as she eyed the monks who had been chanting the Great Compassion mantra. "I've been itching to take action. Watch me take them down." After assigning tasks to his disciples, Lu Zhou turned his attention to the injured Su Liao and Su Fan. "Why did you attempt to backstab me?" The 2 men trembled in fear, prostrating themselves on the ground. Su Jing, unable to comprehend their betrayal, coughed up blood in anger and demanded to know their motives. Su Liao, desperate and indignant, retorted, "Why? Stop pretending to be righteous. Su Jing, you would rather give the Black Magnolia to a demon than to us, and you dare to ask why?" Su Jing, frustrated and disappointed, looked at them and lamented, "You've fallen for the Great Void Temple's lies." Su Liao, defending his actions, argued, "The demonic path will always be demonic. Su Jing, you've gone mad. If you had any conscience left, you would end yourself and confess your sins before Buddha." Hearing this, Su Jing coughed even more violently. Lu Zhou questioned, "Su Liao, if you possessed the Azure Fall fragment, why didn't you use it to backstab Su Jing instead of attacking me?" Upon hearing the mention of the Azure Fall fragment, Su Liao's face turned sour, and he remained silent. Abbot Su Jing, realizing the gravity of the situation, bitterly commented, "So, the Great Void Temple gave you the Azure Fall fragment to kill me?" Su Liao, with nothing left to hide, admitted, "What if they did? We three have devoted so much to the Heaven-Chosen Temple. If the temple joined the Great Void Temple, there would be no fear for our lives. But you chose to bow to the evil Sky Pavilion." Upon hearing this, Su Jing, enraged, slapped Su Liao across the face. Trying to contain his anger, he explained, "Do you think the Great Void Temple is so benevolent? Abbot Kong Yuan of the Great Void Temple practices demon Zen and has gone mad. On the surface, he appears to be a righteous monk, but in reality, he is nefarious, consuming the vital energy and cultivation of others." Su Liao, unable to believe Su Jing's words, protested, "Nonsense. I have seen Master Kong Yuan's golden body radiating with integrity. It can't be false." Su Jing, with a cold snort, kicked Su Liao. "Stubborn fool. My apologies, Lord Ji. It's a family matter. Once this is over, I will personally deal with these two and provide a satisfactory explanation to you." Lu Zhou nodded and then turned to Su Fan. "Was the Azure Fall fragment given to you by the Great Void Temple?" Su Fan confirmed it was. "Do you know where the other Azure Fall fragments are now?" Su Fan, trembling with fear and not daring to withhold information, honestly admitted that he did not know the whereabouts of the other Azure Fall fragments. Lu Zhou contemplated this and decided not to press further, realizing Su Fan was a minor figure unlikely to have such knowledge. At that moment, little Yuan approached him. "Master, those monks were too weak. I didn't even get to use my full strength before they were down." Lu Zhou shook his head. The monks were only at the Brahma Sea realm. After all, he was about to comment sarcastically, but remembered he himself was only at the Brahma Sea realm with 8 channels, so he refrained. Notifications for the defeat of 3 nascent Divinity Tribulation realm targets appeared, awarding him a total of 3,000 merit points. Ming Shirin and Duan Mushing returned from their battle, and Lu Zhou nodded in satisfaction at their performance. The monks of the Heaven-Chosen Temple stared in awe at Lu Zhou and his disciples. Despite their initial fear, they felt reassured. Who says demons cannot attain Buddhahood? Who says demons are inherently evil? We have just witnessed the demonic ancestor master displaying the Buddha's golden body. Abbot Su Jing, deeply grateful, led the temple in expressing their thanks. "Thank you, Lord Ji, for your assistance." A chorus of 1,000 disciples echoed, bowing in unison. "Thank you, Lord Ji, for your assistance." Lu Zhou received a notification for the devout worship of 982 people, granting him 9,820 merit points. He was somewhat surprised. 1,000 weak voices, unclear at first, merged into a strong, resonant chorus, embodying an indescribable aura of hope after surviving a calamity. Looking back, it seems my initial choice was right. Raising his hand, Lu Zhou gestured to Su Jing. Enough with the words. Su Jing quickly understood and began arranging for the retrieval of the Black Magnolia. The group then headed into the Mahavira Hall. Zhu Honghong, following behind his master, started flattering him again. "Master, your display of the Buddha's golden body was truly an eye-opener for your disciple. And that great fearless seal, unparalleled in heaven and earth." Lu Zhou, uninterested in Zhu Honghong's flattery, took the Black Magnolia brought by a monk and handed it to little Yuaner. A notification informed him of the completion of the Black Magnolia retrieval task, along with an award of 1,500 merit points. Little Yuaner, elated with the Black Magnolia in hand, silently vowed, "Master went through so much trouble to obtain this for me, just to help me open my energy sea. I will study diligently and not disappoint him." Abbot Su Jing, with hands clasped in prayer, respectfully spoke, "As the head of the Heaven-Chosen Temple, I am willing to lead all disciples to submit to the evil Sky Pavilion." Lu Zhou shook his head in response. "A demon is not a Buddha. There is no need for such a gesture." He saw the current state of the Heaven-Chosen Temple as weak, with Su Jing heavily injured and unlikely to recover quickly. The younger monks were not ready for significant responsibilities, and the treachery of Su Liao, Su Fan, and Su Hai had added to their woes. To Lu Zhou, these monks offered little benefit to the evil Sky Pavilion. Su Jing, concerned, expressed his fears about the Great Void Temple retaliating, especially since they had suffered a loss this time. Lu Zhou reassured him, with the 4 divine monks of the Great Void Temple gone, only Kong Yuan remains a significant threat. He is extremely cautious and unlikely to strike again soon. Su Jing nodded, accepting Lu Zhou's perspective. "Thank you, Lord Ji, for your advice. As long as they don't come back in in the short term, I have many ways to escape danger. After the discussion, Lu Zhou stood up to leave the hall. Zhu Honghong, quick to please, shouted, let's return to our pavilion. Ming Shirin, somewhat exasperated by Zhu Honghong's behavior, muttered, since old Eighth returned, I feel like I've met my match in certain respects. You really enjoy flattering, don't you? You don't act like a disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion. I'm embarrassed for you, brother. Master, please wait. I'll prepare the flying chariot immediately and ensure a smooth journey. Soon, everyone was aboard the cloud-piercing flying chariot. As Lu Zhou looked down at Su Jing, he offered a final piece of advice. Even if the heaven-chosen temple does not need to submit to us, the events of today will lead to rumors. Have you considered the consequences of being unable to stand in the cultivation world due to these whispers? Abbot Su Jing sighed deeply. After this ordeal, I have realized that such worldly concerns no longer matter. From now on, the heaven-chosen temple will retreat from the world and focus on secluded cultivation. Lu Zhou nodded in understanding and remained silent. At his signal, Ming Shirin promptly maneuvered the cloud-piercing flying chariot, ascending slowly into the sky. As they watched the flying chariot depart, Su Jing chanted a Buddhist mantra with his hands clasped, leading nearly 1,000 disciples in reciting scriptures. The sonorous sound of their chanting in front of the Mahavira Hall was also a profound expression of their gratitude towards the evil Sky Pavilion. Meanwhile, a father and son watching the scene were moved. After hearing such inspiring scriptures, I suddenly feel like becoming a monk, said the son. You've finally come to your senses, my boy. Let's go. We'll do it together, replied his father. The cloud-piercing flying chariot swiftly returned to the evil Sky Pavilion within an hour. In his private chamber, Lu Zhou eagerly examined the gains from the journey. The inventory now included the Azure Fall fragment, and his merit points had reached over 29,000. Pleased, he mused, the devout worship of the heaven-chosen temple's disciples granted more rewards than defeating the 4 divine monks. While these merit points are still insufficient to restore me to my peak, they are a substantial improvement from before. How should I spend them? After buying the 7-star soul-transferring avatar for 15,000 points, I'll still have 14,000 left. Let's try my luck with some draws. However, after trying his luck, Lu Zhou slumped over the table in disappointment. Perhaps this is the balance of life. A loss after a big win. 60 attempts, 3,000 merit points wasted, and not a single hit. Only better luck next time. Oh well, I'm used to it. He then composed himself and stopped gambling, instead opting to purchase the 7-star soul-transferring avatar from the store. Upon confirming its use, a surge of vital energy flooded his energy center, resembling a tide filling a reservoir. Outside the evil Sky Pavilion, energy continued to flow and converge, forming a spectacular display similar to a peacock's tail unfolding. Noticing this phenomenon, Zhu Honghong curiously remarked to Ming Shirin, brother, look, someone is advancing to the divine court realm. Ming Shirin, already accustomed to such sights, reassured him, don't worry, it's just our master. He often does this. Zhu Honghong, despite harboring doubts in her heart, couldn't help but think of the time at the heaven-chosen temple. She recalled the scene where her master defeated the 4 great divine monks with a single move and dared not say anything more. 4th senior brother, when did master bestow you with a weapon? Do you want to see it? While taking out the odd-looking weapon, the separation hook, Zhu Honghong's eyes brimmed with envy. How I wish I had a decent weapon like that. Don't you already have the precious Zen robe? Oh, right, 8th junior brother, come, join me for some practice, Ming Shirin said, and then pulled him towards the back mountain. 4th senior brother, stop joking around. I'm only at the divine court realm. How can I be a match for you in the nascent divinity tribulation realm? Ouch, brother, that hurts. Meanwhile, in a secret room, feeling the energy meridians being irrigated by a powerful force, he exhaled deeply, nodding in satisfaction. He had reached the standard of the divine court realm, the realm of shaping the path. Unfortunately, lifespan did not increase with the improvement of cultivation. His current lifespan was only 5,955 days left. Opening the item shop, he purchased a reversal card. After using it, his lifespan increased to 6,255 days, equivalent to over 17 years. The change wasn't too noticeable. 17 years was insignificant compared to a millennium. Lu Zhou then examined the Azure Fall fragment, an extremely sharp piece of a weapon. It might be a fragment, but it had a terrifying property of easily slicing through protective energy. Almost a lethal weapon. Ji Tiandao once had 8 pieces, but deemed them useless and discarded them. They were barely of an entry-level Earth-tier quality, hardly impressive to Lu Zhou. Just then, a system task popped up. Collect 8 Azure Fall fragments. Upon seeing this, Lu Zhou was speechless. How could he complete this task? Searching for Azure Fall fragments was like looking for a needle in a haystack. As Lu Zhou brooded, Zhao Yu's anxious voice reached his ears. Master, little junior sister, she. What now? Is she causing trouble again? No. After getting the black magnolia, she ate both petals. Now, her condition seems unstable. Tianxin junior sister has already gone over. Her Azure Sea Tide birth technique should stabilize the medicinal properties. Hearing this, Lu Zhou's eyebrows raised slightly. This girl really doesn't make things easy for her master. The medicinal properties of the black magnolia are potent. It should be taken in small doses over time, much like savoring a glass of wine. The more impatient you are, the faster you get drunk, and in severe cases, it could even lead to disaster. Meanwhile, inside the southern pavilion, everyone had gathered, all looking anxious but clueless about what to do. Ming Shireen spoke up, reminding everyone, we must suppress the medicinal effects. Our little junior sister hasn't endured much hardship in her life. I'm afraid her will might not be strong enough to withstand this. Upon hearing this, Duan Mushing quickly grabbed his shoulder. How do we suppress it? Ming Shireen, looking innocently, replied, Senior brother, why are you so rough? How would I know how to suppress it? Just as everyone was at their wits' end, Yi Tianxin, supported by 2 female cultivators, arrived. Let me try, she said. Ming Shireen, puzzled, asked, do you have a method? Yi Tianxin nodded. The Azure Sea Tide Birth technique can dilute the medicinal properties, but your cultivation is still recovering. Doing this might harm your foundation. How will you restore your cultivation then? Ming Shireen expressed his concern. Hearing Ming Shireen's worry, Yi Tianxin smiled and waved her hand. Other than this method, do you have any other ideas? Don't forget, she is also my junior sister. With that, she pushed open the door and went inside. The others, having no other choice, waited anxiously outside. Ming Shireen, pacing back and forth in agitation, muttered, why hasn't Master arrived yet? Xu Honghong casually reassured him, don't worry, 5th senior sister has already gone to get him. It's normal for Master at his age to not be very agile. 8th junior brother, you're quite bold to joke about Master behind his back. Xu Honghong realized what he had just said, and was so scared that his body fat trembled. 4th senior brother, I wouldn't dare. Our Master is still in his prime, as sharp as ever. As they spoke, Lu Zhou arrived at a leisurely pace. Everyone quickly bowed in respect. Lu Zhou nodded in acknowledgement and asked, what's the situation? Ming Shireen explained everything in detail. Junior sister Qianxin has already gone in. The Azure Sea Tide Birth technique can dilute the medicinal effects. With junior sister taking charge, the problem shouldn't be too big. Xu Honghong was terrified, her legs trembling uncontrollably. With Master's cultivation at the peak of the nascent divinity tribulation realm, how could he not have heard what I just said? Lu Zhou's gaze fell upon him. Old 8th, what are you afraid of? Xu Honghong, sweating profusely, replied, nothing. I'm just worried about our junior sister. Lu Zhou, somewhat puzzled by her reaction, dismissed it. There's no need to worry. Yi Tianxin practices the Azure Sea Tide Birth technique, which can easily penetrate the body's meridians. Hearing this, Hua Wudao frowned slightly. Indeed, Yi Tianxin can stabilize the medicinal effects, but her cultivation is weak. She might struggle to control it. Lu Zhou looked up at him. What do you suggest? Hua Wudao responded, for safety's sake, it would be best if you, Pavilion Master, personally intervened. Everyone agreed with this suggestion. Indeed, although Yi Tianxin knows the Azure Sea Tide Birth technique, you, Master, are surely more proficient. Your intervention would be most appropriate. After all, Yi Tianxin is still recovering from her illness. How could she compare to you? Lu Zhou remained silent for a moment, then stood with his hands behind his back, and said calmly, Yi Tianxin is sufficient for the task. He had just stepped into the divine court realm, his cultivation only at the early stages of this realm and not yet stabilized. How could he manage to stabilize the medicinal effects? Just as this was being discussed, a ripple of forceful energy emanated from the room, signaling a significant development. Pan Zhong, sensing it closely, spoke with surprise. This is the energy of the origin of the way. The nascent divinity tribulation realm has 3 stages. The origin of the way, primordial chaos, and union with the Tao. The origin of the way is the first stage of entering the nascent divinity tribulation realm. This means someone has entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Clearly, little Yuaner has successfully broken through. Ming Shireen and Duan Mushing were overjoyed. Our junior sister has made a breakthrough. Evil Sky Pavilion has gained another powerful member. Xu Honghong, full of envy, looked towards the room. The nascent divinity tribulation realm. When will I be able to break through? As the forceful energy filled the air, Yi Tianxin suddenly flew out of the room, propelled backwards. Lu Zhou quickly reached out to steady her. After handing her over to Ming Shireen, he headed straight into the room. Inside, little Yuaner was enveloped in a golden light, sitting cross-legged on the bed in meditation. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling the overwhelming vital energy within her body, and exclaimed with joy, Master, I've really made a breakthrough. I'm now in the nascent divinity tribulation realm too. Lu Zhou, expressionless, commanded, kneel down. Hearing this, little Yuaner was stunned for a few seconds before obediently kneeling. Lu Zhou stood over her, looking down indifferently. Do you realize your mistake? Little Yuaner respectfully answered, I know I am wrong. And do you know what you did wrong? I don't know. Lu Zhou, somewhat speechless, listened as Ming Shireen hastily reminded her, Junior sister, you took the Black Magnolia on your own. If it weren't for junior sister Qianxin risking herself to stabilize the effects, how could your breakthrough have been so easy? Hearing this, little Yuaner was filled with guilt. Sister Qianxin, she's a bit injured, but it's nothing serious. She'll recover after a few days of rest. Little Yuaner, feeling self-reproach, lowered her head. I understand my mistake. Please, Master, punish me as you see fit. Lu Zhou, showing a hint of compassion, said, said, to recognize and correct one's errors is most commendable. Stand up and speak. You've just entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm and need to stabilize your cultivation. Also, go through the Supreme Purity Jade Slip and re-practice the technique as it's now complete. Little Yuan nodded obediently. I will not disappoint you, Master. Master is always the best to me. Lu Zhou frowned at her casual demeanor and scolded, behave yourself. After speaking, he walked outside. By then, Yi Tianxin had recovered a bit, but her aura was still very weak. She mustered her courage, approached Lu Zhou, and knelt before him. I acknowledge my mistake. I shouldn't have acted on my own. Master, I wish to return to the evil sky pavilion. Please, Master, allow it. At her words, the courtyard suddenly fell silent. The other disciples also knelt down, seemingly in support, but none dared to speak. Lu Zhou looked around at everyone and then his gaze settled on Pan Zhong. Pan Zhong, he called. I am here. Pan Zhong responded. If you wish to return to the Clarity Sect, would they accept you? Hearing this, Pan Zhong panicked and quickly knelt down, pledging his loyalty. Master, since I have joined the evil sky pavilion, I have no second thoughts. If not for Master bestowing the six bright technique upon me, I would still be suffering from the bitter cold. In life, I am a man of the evil sky pavilion. In death, I shall be its ghost. Lu Zhou shook his head. I was speaking hypothetically. Pan Zhong realized his misunderstanding. Hypothetically, even if I tried to return, I wouldn't even make it past the main gate before the elders tore me to pieces. Ming Shirin, hearing this, gave him a disapproving look. What trouble have you gotten yourself into that you don't even have a chance for redemption? Pan Zhong sighed deeply. It's not about redemption. It's the rules of the Clarity Sect. The elders are sticklers for tradition, extremely rigid. Lu Zhou then turned to Zhou Jifeng. And you, Zhou Jifeng? Zhou Jifeng honestly replied. Although I owe a lot to the Heaven Sword Sect, there are also irreconcilable grievances. Even if I wanted to return, they would not accept me. Lu Zhou's gaze then shifted to Hua Wudao in the corner. Elder Hua, what about you? Do you want the truth? Hua Wudao asked. Lu Zhou nodded. Of course. If I hadn't joined the evil sky pavilion and wished to return to the Cloud Sect, I believe they would have accepted me. These conversations were heard by everyone. The disciples didn't dare to interject, not knowing what their master was thinking. Kneeling was already their way of pleading for Yi Tianxin. Yi Tianxin, hearing the responses of Zhou Jifeng and Pan Zhong, felt even worse. Betraying the sect, deceiving the master, she was no different from Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng. Lu Zhou turned away coldly, no longer looking at her. The matter of Fish Dragon Village has been investigated thoroughly. Wei Zhuoyan, who framed me, is dead. Do you have anything else to say? Yi Tianxin, kneeling respectfully, did not dare to raise her head to look at Lu Zhou. I am aware of the gravity of my sins. They are unforgivable. Lu Zhou, with a calm expression, waved his hand dismissively. Our master-disciple bond is severed. You may leave. Shaken to her core, Yi Tianxin knelt frozen in place. The other disciples, although wishing to plead on her behalf, knew their efforts would be in vain. Tears welled in Yi Tianxin's eyes as she forcefully kowtowed 3 times. I entered the sect at 10 and have studied for 20 years. Master, you raised and taught me, bestowed upon me the emotional ring. I dare not forget your nurturing grace. I committed a grave mistake. Thinking of returning to the evil sky pavilion was mere folly. Master, you repaid my betrayal with kindness, uncovering the truth of Fish Dragon Village and slaying Wei Zhuoyan. I bid farewell to my master. After saying this, Yi Tianxin kowtowed once more. Lu Zhou sighed deeply and, with a wave of his hand, sent the emotional ring, enveloped in a faint yellow light, flying towards Yi Tianxin. In recognition of your merit in saving little Yuan, I bestow upon you the emotional ring. Take it and make good use of it. Yi Tianxin was taken aback as she caught the familiar weapon. Thousands of words turned into tears streaming down her face. Unable to hold back any longer, she burst into tears. After bowing deeply to her master, she turned and left Golden Court Mountain. She had thought that even if her master destroyed her weapon, she would accept it, but she hadn't expected her master to return the emotional ring to her. Holding the weapon, she could feel a significant change in her spirit and vitality compared to before. Duan Mushing admired the scene, then thought to himself, my own overlord spear is not bad either, but poor 4th junior brother, stuck with that shabby, odd-looking weapon, yet always so cheerful. Hua Wudao sighed. It's evident that the child is remorseful, but I also agree with Pavilion Master's decision. Betraying one's master and ancestors is a sin that even gods and humans despise. Ming Shirin wanted to say a few words in Yi Tianxin's defense, but was cut off by Elder Hua. Master, junior sister Tianxin and I have been fellow disciples. Allow me to see her off. Lu Zhou nodded in response. Go ahead. Ming Shirin hurriedly flew down the mountain. On his way, he disturbed the wildlife, arriving just as the female cultivators of Derived Moon Palace were gathering. What are you all doing? He asked curiously. The female cultivators of the Derived Moon Palace bowed respectfully upon hearing Ming Shirin's arrival. Greetings, Mr. Fourth. We are grateful for your help in the past and for your care during this time. We have followed our palace master for many years. Wherever she goes, we will follow. Ming Shirin shook his head. Quite loyal, but unfortunately too foolish. Without further explanation, he continued to follow Yi Tianxin. Sensing his approach, she turned around in surprise, Fourth senior brother, you came. Junior sister, don't blame master for being harsh. You saw the situation just now. I couldn't plead for you. He gestured towards the female cultivators following him. You're not planning to re-establish the derived moon palace, are you? What do you mean? Fourth senior brother, your cultivation hasn't fully recovered yet. Moving around with them openly could easily make you a target. Yi Tianxin nodded, agreeing with his point. Ming Shirin offered a slight smile, trying to comfort her. Don't be too disheartened. Master didn't kill you and even dealt with Wei Shuiyan. That's already a great mercy. Besides, master only asked you to leave. He didn't expel you from the sect. This shows that our master isn't so heartless after all. Yi Tianxin's eyes brightened at this interpretation. You mean there's still a chance? Of course, I'll keep an eye on things with master. Maybe one day he'll cool down. Hopefully, Yi Tianxin said, somewhat relieved. And don't forget, you saved little junior sister, and master is particularly fond of her. I will figure out a way to subtly manipulate, to persuade the junior sister to speak more favorably on your behalf. Yi Tianxin, grateful for Ming Shirin's support, bowed in thanks. Thank you, fourth senior brother. We are fellow disciples. No need for thanks. Don't take the main roads, stick to less traveled paths, and don't show yourself until your cultivation has fully recovered. Yi Tianxin nodded in understanding and then turned to the female cultivators who had followed her. Although we have shared sisterhood, following me will only bring you danger. Stay in the evil sky pavilion and take good care of our master on my behalf. The female cultivators knelt down in unison, unwilling to part with their palace master. Yi Tianxin, with a resigned sigh, bowed to them and then turned to leave down the mountain. Ming Shirin, smiling slightly, addressed the women. As I said, you're a bit naive. Go about your business. Meanwhile, at the evil sky pavilion, Hua Wudao stood alone at the entrance, shaking his head in a sigh. It's clear that she is remorseful. It's a pity. Duan Mushing couldn't help but speak up. Master, sixth junior sister's cultivation has just recovered, and she was further weakened by helping little junior sister. Leaving Golden Court Mountain now might be dangerous for her. Lu Zhou was silent for a moment before slowly saying, that is her fate. Duan Mushing seemed about to say more but was nudged by Zhu Honghong, who was feeding chickens nearby. Realizing the implication, he wisely remained silent. Lu Zhou contemplated. As they say, Yi Tianxin is still weak. As a white citizen, once she leaves the evil sky pavilion, many will want to eliminate her. However, having reached her position in the evil sky pavilion, if she doesn't have the means to hide and survive in the world, then she doesn't deserve to be a disciple of evil sky pavilion. Even Zhu Honghong, with his divine court realm cultivation, has established himself in the Tiger Ridge gang without incident. Yi Tianxin, being so astute, surely can handle herself. Lu Zhou, having instructed to take good care of little Yuaner, left the matter behind and returned to his secret chamber. With Yi Tianxin no longer part of his direct disciples, he focused on other concerns. He opened the heavenly writing, continuing his studies. The content of the heavenly writing remained unchanged, neither increasing nor decreasing, and its comprehension still elusive. The study had entered a repetitive phase, which seemed tedious on the surface, but the effects of understanding the heavenly writing were becoming increasingly apparent. However, the end of this endeavor was still not in sight, leaving Lu Zhou to continue his contemplation with a sense of resignation. The next morning, little Yuaner excitedly came to greet him, boasting about her newfound ease in deploying the 100 Tribulation Insight avatar. Demonstrating, she summoned a shimmering avatar into the air. Lu Zhou, seeing this, nodded in approval. Now that you have entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm, you are among the true powerhouses. Do not become arrogant or complacent. Little Yuaner happily agreed. She initially wanted to plead for Yi Tianxin, but Lu Zhou sternly cut her off. Do not mention her again. I have done all that I could for her. Later, Lu Zhou went to the main hall, where the female cultivators, previously of the derived moon palace, were cleaning and promptly bowed to him. Lu Zhou was puzzled that they chose to stay even after Yi Tianxin had left. Despite his curiosity, he didn't inquire further and took his seat. Little Yuaner approached him, trying to flatter him with massages and back rubs. Lu Zhou frowned. Unsolicited favors often spell trouble. Speak plainly if you have something to say. Hearing her master's words, little Yuaner immediately knelt down in front of him with a sheepish smile, opening her hands. Master, have you perhaps forgotten something important? Understanding little Yuaner's hint, Lu Zhou remembered his promise to bestow her with a heavenly tier weapon once she entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Raising his hand, he summoned the Brahma Heaven Silk, a 7-foot-long fiery red artifact that floated gracefully into the air. Little Yuaner's eyes sparkled with excitement. Master, what is this? Lu Zhou smiled slightly. This is the Brahma Heaven Silk, a treasure that can lengthen or shorten as needed and changes with your cultivation. Do you like it? Little Yuaner was awestruck. Anything master gives me, I love. Then I bestow upon you the Brahma Heaven Silk, Lu Zhou said as he waved his arm, wrapping the silk around little Yuaner. Ding! Brahma Heaven Silk successfully bonded. Activation tier, heavenly. Reward, 1000 merit points. Little Yuaner, thrilled, jumped around joyfully. Thank you, master. I will not let you down. Lu Zhou nodded. Now that the Brahma Heaven Silk has recognized you as its master, familiarize yourself with it. No slacking. I'll make good use use of it, little Yuan promised and then eagerly flew out of the evil sky pavilion. Moments later, Pan Zhong's screams, reminiscent of a pig being slaughtered, reached their ears. Lu Zhou scolded, "Don't cause trouble." Little Yuan scratched her head and reluctantly released him. "How about we try it in the back mountain? I'm not yet familiar with it." Pan Zhong, in a panic, pleaded for mercy. "Miss Ninth, I'm no match for you." Little Yuan felt disappointed. "You're no fun." Catching on to her mood, Pan Zhong quickly came up with an idea. "Miss Ninth, Brother Zhou has been practicing his swordsmanship lately and has made significant progress. He used to be the top disciple of the Heaven Sword sect, a swordsmanship genius." At the mention of Zhou Jifeng, little Yuan's interest was piqued again. "Where is he?" Pan Zhong quickly pointed towards the back mountain, intending to add more flattering remarks, but before he could continue, little Yuan had already vanished towards the direction he had indicated. Pan Zhong let out a wry smile. "Sorry, Brother Zhou." Meanwhile, Ming Shirin happened to pass by and noticed Pan Zhong's swollen face, resembling a pig's head. "What happened to you?" Pan Zhong awkwardly replied. "Greetings, Mr. Fourth. It's nothing. I just tripped while walking." Ming Shirin clearly didn't buy the explanation that a fall could cause such a state. "Where's our little junior sister?" Pan Zhong hastily responded. "Miss Ninth just received the heavenly tier weapon, Brahma Heaven Silk, and was looking for someone to spar with. She's probably gone to find Zhou Jifeng by now." "Oh, I forgot, Mr. Fourth and Mr. Third. Both of you have high cultivation and possess heavenly tier weapons. You'd be the perfect sparring partners for her." Ming Shirin coughed awkwardly. "Finding third senior brother is fine, but if you see little junior sister, tell her I'm very busy." After speaking, Ming Shirin quickly left the area, accelerating as he passed the back mountain, disappearing into the sky as if fleeing. 5 days passed, and during this time, Golden Court Mountain was in constant turmoil due to little Yuan's enthusiastic use of the Brahma Heaven Silk. Meanwhile, Lu Zhou was deeply engrossed in studying the heavenly writing in his secret chamber, unaware of the chaos outside. Upon completing his study session, he checked his status panel and found his cultivation completely stabilized, with his merit points reaching 12,820. Surprisingly, the Whitzer had also finished resting. He opened the item shop, but unfortunately, the available items remained the same. Satisfied that they hadn't increased in price, he then turned his attention to the task list. Lu Zhou was puzzled by the system's task to collect Azure Fall fragments. After searching his memory about Azure Fall fragment, he found no clues. Ji Tiandao hadn't paid much attention to them. Elder Hua might know something, but before Lu Zhou could act on that thought, a daring idea struck him. Could the nameless sword cut through the Azure Fall fragment? Lu Zhou took the nameless sword and slashed at the Azure Fall fragment. To his surprise, the fragment easily split into two. The nameless sword triumphed effortlessly. Shaking his head, Lu Zhou mused about the apparent worthlessness of the fragments. Just then, he noticed the two halves of the Azure Fall fragment miraculously merging back together, restoring to its original form. Intrigued, he examined the self-repairing fragment, which showed no signs of ever being cut. "Interesting," he thought. At that moment, Ming Shirin's voice came from outside. "Disciple greets master. May you live forever." Lu Zhou, storing the Azure Fall fragment, entered the main hall to inquire about Ming Shirin's business. Ming Shirin bowed and reported, "Master, I have 2 matters to report. First, Pan Zhong has gone home for a family memorial service. I let him leave first since you were resting." Hearing this, Lu Zhou's eyebrows raised slightly. "A family memorial service?" Ming Shirin shared his concern. Pan Zhong, after practicing the 3 dark technique, looked neither human nor ghost and hadn't returned home for 3 years. Now that he's learned the 6 bright technique, he at least looks presentable, but he's originally from the Clarity sect, and I fear that once he steps out, the Clarity sect won't let him off easily. Lu Zhou nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. By joining the evil sky pavilion, Pan Zhong has become a demon in the eyes of the Clarity sect. They couldn't catch Xu Honghong. They surely won't spare Pan Zhong. The Clarity sect has allied with the Orthodox sect and likely pledged allegiance to the second prince. This could be Moli's doing. Ming Shirin pondered, then asked, "Master, since Moli is targeting us, why don't you go to the divine capital and eliminate him?" Lu Zhou shook his head. "The Great Flame Imperial family isn't as simple as you think. What's the second matter?" Ming Shirin smiled. "The second matter concerns little junior sister. In 3 days, she'll turn 16. We, 3rd senior brother, 5th junior sister, 8th junior brother, and I thought we should do something to make her happy." Lu Zhou sighed softly. Time flies. Little Yuaner has grown up so quickly. At that moment, little Yuaner and others entered the hall. Lu Zhou noticed Zhou Jifeng, who was wrapped in bandages, and couldn't help but feel puzzled. "What happened to you?" Zhou Jifeng gave an awkward smile. "Just a small accident." Lu Zhou guessed the cause and admonished, "Enough with the recklessness. You're turning 16, and yet you act so immaturely. This is not how you should behave." Seeing her master's anger, little Yuaner immediately lowered her head in a timid apology. Lu Zhou then turned his gaze to Duan Mushing and noticed that although he wasn't injured, he appeared quite disheveled. Having obtained the Brahma Heaven Silk, she has been acting recklessly, without any discipline. Moreover, how could Duan Mushing's cultivation be unable to defeat little Yuaner? Disrespecting an elder brother is like disrespecting an elder. Who knows, she might even become disrespectful towards me in the future. With this thought, Lu Zhou let out a cold snort. Kneel. Zhou Jifeng, reacting instinctively, immediately knelt down and hurriedly apologized to little Yuan. Lu Zhou shook his head upon seeing this. Zhou Jifeng had obviously become accustomed to such treatment. It seems like he's been bullied quite often. Yuan, kneel down, he commanded. Little Yuan quickly knelt, and Lu Zhou began his reprimand. You are now 16, no longer a child. How can you show such disrespect? Apologize. Without any objection, little Yuan sincerely turned to Duan Musheng. Senior brother, I am sorry. Duan Musheng chuckled. It's a small matter. I wasn't injured, and it was like guiding a junior. Xu Honghong initially wanted to intercede for little Yuan, but seeing Lu Zhou's stern expression, promptly covered his mouth. After little Yuan apologized, Lu Zhou announced her punishment. As your master, I sentence you to copy the Supreme Purity Jade slip 100 times and reflect in the Cave of Reflection for 3 days. Little Yuan was momentarily stunned, then nodded reluctantly. I accept the punishment. She then got up and left the evil sky pavilion. Master, little junior sister is still young. Ming Shirin began, trying to plead for leniency, but Lu Zhou raised his hand to stop him. She is not so young anymore. At 16, in any era, one cannot be considered a child. Where is Elder Hua? I'll go fetch him right away, Ming Shirin said, quickly leaving the hall. He had planned to discuss little Yuan's birthday celebration, but given the circumstances, it seemed best to drop the idea. Before long, Ming Shirin returned with Hua Wudao to the main hall. Pavilion Master, you called for me? Hua Wudao asked. Lu Zhou casually took out the Azure Fall fragment and asked Hua Wudao, do you recognize this? Hua Wudao took a careful look at the Azure Fall fragment and said, this is indeed a possession of the Pavilion Master. There's a rumor that one year, when the barriers of the Evil Sky Pavilion weakened, it was stolen by Yanzi Yunsan of the Divine Thieves sect. It's unclear whether this is true or false. Hua Wudao's expression was tinged with a hint of gossip, as if to say, even the mighty Evil Sky Pavilion can have something stolen by a mere thief? Lu Zhou replied calmly, I never paid much attention to this object. I discarded it carelessly, so it being stolen is not surprising. Hua Wudao looked surprised. A treasure that everyone else seeks is considered trash here. Only in the Evil Sky Pavilion would such words be spoken. Why do you ask about this? Pavilion Master. Lu Zhou raised an eyebrow. Find them. Why retrieve something you consider trash? Hua Wudao thought, feeling perplexed, but he didn't dare voice this question. There are said to be 8 Azure Fall fragments. I am not clear on where they all are. Finding them all would be quite difficult. Lu Zhou nodded. Instead of searching aimlessly, it would be better to find the one who stole them. Yinzi Yunsan, you said? Yes, Hua Wudao confirmed. The Azure Fall fragments are considered valuable to the outside world and wouldn't just be lost without reason. However, the Divine Thieves sect has long vanished from the cultivation world. Finding Yinzi Yunsan won't be easy. After contemplating for a moment, Lu Zhou called out to Ming Shirin. Ming Shirin responded promptly, Disciple is here. Use the 7th Junior Brothers Information Network to find out Yinzi Yunsan's whereabouts. Ming Shirin, looking slightly panicked, asked, Master, what if he doesn't agree? He is a smart man. Lu Zhou replied confidently. The problem is, I can't even find him, Ming Shirin admitted. Before he could continue, Zhu Honghong quickly interjected. I know. 7th Senior Brothers' dark net spans every corner of the Great Flame, including Anyang. Hearing this, Ming Shirin swiftly took action, grabbing Zhu Honghong. I'll send a message right away. 8th Junior Brother, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Lu Zhou then ordered Duan Musheng to send a message to Jian Aijian, asking him to investigate Yanzi Yunsan's whereabouts. Mid-sentence, however, Ming Shirin returned, clutching a carrier pigeon. Master, it's a message from Jian Aijian. Lu Zhou, slightly bemused at the coincidence, said, this man always seems to have such timing. Read it. Ming Shirin opened the message and began to read. Elder Ji, since our last meeting, I have missed you greatly. Your skills are truly impressive, especially the way you swapped things so cunningly. I couldn't help but applaud. He clapped dramatically as he read, drawing curious looks from everyone as if you were acting foolishly. Lu Zhou, unperturbed, instructed him to continue reading. In 3 days, Wei Zhuoyan is ordered to go to Anyang to quell unrest. Molly and the Jade Consort, among others, are trying to intervene. It's a crucial moment. Many things can't be explained clearly in a letter. I would like to meet with you, Elder Ji. After finishing, Ming Shirin, frustrated, threw the carrier pigeon to the ground. This Jian Aijian thinks too highly of himself. Does he believe Master is at his beck and call? Xu Honghong looked puzzled. 4th Senior Brother, who is this Jian Aijian? Ming Shirin replied nonchalantly. He's the 3rd prince of the Great Flame Imperial family, Lu Shen. Meanwhile, Jian Aijian, who was being attended to during his bath, sneezed suddenly. The maid beside him saw this and offered to clean the long sword in his hand separately. Jian Aijian gently shook his head, caressing the sword's scabbard, and said softly, it's fine, we'll wash it together.